is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Movie Battlegrounds. I am your lovely host coming in from other areas such as Nerd Fights and Game Zone to come and bring this amazing battle that's about to happen between James and Matt. Not Matt Beer, the other Matt. We're going to go Matt 2.0. So I'm going to bring this match up real quick. We're going to go over and speak to James first. James, are you excited to be in this match? How you feeling, man?
I am purely here for revenge because somebody decided to ask a Gothica question and I lost a point for no reason. And I know you remember because you were there. You were laughing your ass off. But today, I want vengeance.
Well, James, I'm sorry you feel that way. We have a complaint department that you can go to about that section. It's www.learnmoremovies.com. And we're going to go over to Matt real quick. Matt, how are you feeling? Are you excited to face James? What's your anticipation of this match?
Well, to start off with, how the hell am I am I being avenged here? But honestly, I've judged a bunch of these, and I think it's my turn to step into the ring. James, unfortunately, you're in my way. The tournament's coming, and I am not gonna sit by and let this shit start without me. So, James, get the hell out of my way.
All right, we got a bunch of team action people here. Yeah, action and corruption. Woo! I am of course not by myself right now, and I'm gonna go over to my judges. Malcolm, you stepped in for this match. Are you excited to see what happens?
Um, yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. I know, but I know both Matt and James moderately well, so should be really interesting. I know James is really passionate, and so is Matt. But so it could go down to either way.
Absolutely. I feel like we have another civil war on our hands with team action fanboys. We're gonna go over to Ryan real quick. Ryan, are you excited for this? I guess Civil War 2.0 of the action army?
Well, I will be completely honest. I thought it all died after the first action Civil War, but it turns out that everyone likes a return. So I'm just gonna sit back, be observant, be non-biased, because personally, I just don't care about team action. But that's just me.
All right, all right, all right. Well, we got some shade being thrown. I'm gonna go over the rules real quick. We have three main rounds. It's 90 seconds, 5 minutes, and a 60-second close. Each competitor has the ability to use a 1 minute extension on their opening or close. You only get one per game. And as always, judges, let's keep our voting to a 20 to 30 seconds. And if we make it to the speed round, I'll explain the speed round there. All right, now that we went over the rules, we're going to go ahead and hop right in this with question one. And we're going to James first. James, you got 90 seconds on the board. The question is, worst CGI in a film? And time starts when you're ready to talk.
So I think we need to realize something. Worse CGI happens generally earlier. You could say something that happened recently and suddenly you create a heavily biased opinion because that would have looked great 20 years ago. It would have been revolutionary. I'm going back to one of the earliest films we see CG adopted as an alternate to putting effort into practical effects, and that would be the masterpiece, Jaws 3D. It is so bad people remember it to this day, which really shouldn't happen because no one should remember the Jaws sequels. It has, and I have counted on my little board here, there are 6 CGI shots, and every single one of them is terrible. Now we have, 2,000, 2,500 VFX shots, and we see all of them executed masterfully. A couple bad ones, whatever. This has 6 single shots, and every single one of them are terrible, and no other movie has issues quite like that.
And we're going to go over to Matt. Matt, explain to me real quick in a 90-second brief opening, worst CGI in a film.
Well, when you think about CGI, it really became popular in the 90s. But there is one movie that came out in 1997 that takes the cake for worst. And I'm talking about, of course, Spawn. Spawn came out in 1997. Half that movie is CGI and half of it's practical effects. However, when you look at the CGI, it almost hurts your eyes. So I'm going to concede my time and we'll start talking.
All right, guys, we're going right into the debate round. You got James with Jaws 3D, Matt with Spawn. Guys, worst CGI in a film. Explain why yours is the worst in 5 minutes when somebody starts talking.
You know what? Here, Matt, I'll let you go first because I wholly believe that I am right, and nothing you can say can beat my argument. Your movie came 20 years later or 10 years later. I don't care. I don't matter.
All right. So if we're going to start talking about your movie, let's talk about the fact that it is 3D. The whole movie is CGI. And in 1983, there were people coming out of that theater saying that the shark coming out scared the living shit out of them. And if you want to talk about CGI, let's talk about the fact that they actually added 10 feet to the shark, which made it 35 foot long. So with that,
nothing of that adds to the film. If anything, the 3D should make it worse, and it does because you're adding extra dimension that artists at the time were not used to and could not grasp the capability of. We didn't see good 3D until 2009. What we saw then was artists, again, working in a medium that they didn't understand, and suddenly that makes it worse. And here, of the 6 CGI shots I have written down here, the most infamous one is when Mama Jaws, whatever that is, breaks through the glass. And because it's 3D, it's supposed to be scary. And if we have a fact checker on board, I would like to see you quantify that, because I have never heard from anyone who saw that movie who was scared by it, because it's not convincing. Even nowadays, a 3D is not convincing. Nothing in that movie is scary.
If you want to fact check that, you look at IMDb's page. The person that wrote the synopsis for the film pulled that from a newspaper article that came out from opening day. Now, and as a matter of fact, the Jaws 3D came out as a spoof, a parody of the first two. It was meant to be
an outright lie. Nothing in that film was a parody. It takes itself deathly seriously.
Actually, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, the director came out and said when he made it to be a horror comedy. That's why it takes place at SeaWorld. Now, over to Spawn. When you look at the demon or the devil, whatever you want to call him, it looks like they took a damn wolf or coyote, whatever you want to put it, that was run over and made him 40 feet tall. And when he starts talking, his mouth and the words don't even line up. Let alone.
Okay, so I understand how that might look bad, but realize what you're talking about. You're talking about the culmination of all evil, making that some unearthly horror that, yes, could be a product of bad CGI. But in terms of art design, no matter what you do, it is good because it is unimaginable how something could be that terrifying. And on top of that, let's ignore, because you're putting that one thing. Spawn's cape in the movie, like, very clearly when he's coming down from the rafters and the cape is all around him. That is good CGI. The suit is good in comparison to everything else, especially in comparison to my movie, which again, this came 16 years later, and it looks immensely better. You can't say the movie is somehow worse CGI than that came prior to it, because at least people knew what they were doing with the technology. They had grasps of it, and sure, you can blame the art design and the tech team for having ugly things, but ugly isn't the issue. It's poor creative decisions. And that's what Jaws 3D is. It's being unfamiliar with the technology and people not being sure how to do it, so it looks like you could take a toy and put it in, I don't know, molten aluminum and throw it on screen. It is an abomination that they simply cannot work with.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you say they don't know what they're working with. Let me give you 3 other movies that came out in 1997. That would be The Fifth Element, Starship Troopers, and Titanic. You're telling me that the CGI that was used in those 3 movies, as well as Blade, which is a New Line Cinema, which made Spawn, didn't know the craft that they were using. You're telling me that when they
I think you're misunderstanding. What I'm saying is that Jaws 3D, those artists did not know what they were doing. In '97, I think, yes, technology was bad. And yes, that's below average of the time. But that's much better than what we would have seen in 1983.
In 1983, Jaws 3D was known as groundbreaking because that movie was filmed for 3D in the theaters. People were actually copywriting or downloading, well, not downloading, but they were making VHS versions of the movie in 3D so people can watch it at home. So
okay, but again, just because it's older does not mean it's suddenly better. Because it's so old, that's the issue of it. That it hasn't aged well, and it just sucks now.
Time. Whew. You guys got heated over this CGI debate. Yeah. All right. We're gonna go back to James for his closing. James, you got 60 seconds on the clock. Let us know why Jaws 3D is worse CGI in a film over Spawn.
What I think Matt is just neglecting to realize that older CGI is generally worse. What happens when time goes on is that technology gets better. What we see here is the earliest idea of that technology, and it fails to do anything compelling. It fails to work, and it just is awful. Spawn, yes, looks bad for the time, but it is still better than Jaws 3D because it came later, and computers were upgraded. It works, and the art design of the movie is what holds it back, not the CGI. The CGI itself is fine. It is just fine. Jaws 3D is abysmal. It hurts the eyes. It hurts the soul, and it tarnishes a great film. And what he said, I don't know anything about anything he says. I truly do not believe that any of that happened. Concede.
All right. We're gonna go over to Matt. Matt, 60 seconds on the clock. Spawn versus Jaws. Why is Spawn the worst CGI in a film?
Okay, so he keeps saying that because Jaws 3D came earlier makes it worse effect. I disagree. If you look at movies like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which came out at least 10 years, if not 12 years before Jaws 3D, the CGI was good back then. You take a movie like Spawn, when it came out, the CGI was going against movies like The Fifth Element, Starship Troopers, and Titanic, where the CGI was good. You take the half CGI and half practical effects that they use, and it doesn't work. You can actually see the difference between the CGI and the practical. It actually hurts your eyes to look at. There's scenes that you should just fast forward past because it's gonna hurt your eyes. And with that, I'm gonna concede the rest.
All right. Conceding the rest of his time. Good thing I don't got to make my decision first. I'm going to go over to Malcolm. Malcolm, tell me where you see this match, who's getting your point, and a brief little synopsis of why.
Yeah, this was easy for me. James gets my point. I heard a lot from James about why Jaws 3D. Like nothing against Matt on this. Like he did talk a little bit about his one and but I didn't hear enough about him trying to defend on why he thinks that Jaws 3D is actually good. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. Going over to Ryan. Ryan, where's your viewpoint on this? How you looking at this fight?
Well, I know Matt was asking for someone to fact check. Oh no, James is asking someone to fact check regarding that little thing. And I did look on IMDb regarding the whole shark jump out. Yeah, only one person said that, but he said it scared him when he was 10. I don't see any other adults, people who said that when they were in the theater at that age. But there is Matt does at least get some point argument to what he said that 3D moment of the shark jumping out does scare people. But after all that being said, I'm still going to give this point to James because James, he did really do stress on why Jaws, this movie, had some really terrible use of the technology it was given. But especially, he does talk about that the artists that were involved did not actually knew what they were using. And honestly, Matt, you did make up some good points of Spawn and how some of the designs were, but there was there was at least these artists, they were trying to do something with these shots, especially along with the cape, along with the enemy Malboja. But I don't want to take up too much time here, so James is going to get the point.
So we're going to go over to question 2. Question 2. What bad movie would you lock away in Area 51? And we're going to go over and start with Matt first. Matt, 90 seconds on the board. What movie is so bad that you would lock it up with the aliens?
Well, this one's easy. It came out in 2004, and it was released July 23rd, 2004, which is blockbuster season, and that is Catwoman. Halle Berry's Catwoman was set up to be a Catwoman movie, and the marketing for it was a complete sham. And I'm just going to concede my time. We'll discuss this.
All right, no setup, just going into the debate round. James, tell us what you think is so bad that's bad enough to be locked up with the aliens to protect the human race.
So, what I think we need to focus on here is not whether a movie is bad enough to lock away. There are plenty of bad movies. What I'm going to argue today is why a movie is so terrifying that it should never be shared around. Especially in my home state of California, that would be San Andreas. Sure, the movie sucks. Sure, The Rock can't really act. And sure, nothing of interesting happens in the movie. However, if you want something that is truly terrifying to the bone to a Californian, show them this movie that will, and this is no joke, has sent my friends into panic attacks about the reality of the San Andreas Fault swallowing our state up as a whole. If you want to make my entire state sane and not have it turn into Florida, you need to get rid of San Andreas for all future generations. Concede.
All right, so James is deconstructing the question here a little bit, so I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Matt's giving us an actual bad movie. James is giving us a movie in which he's terrified for the future of his friends' hearts. So, San Andreas, Catwoman, which one's getting locked up with aliens? 5 minutes on the board. Let us know, guys.
So here's
James,
the first
go
thing to
ahead.
bring up, okay? I love the Catwoman suit, okay? And sure, the movie is terrible, but do you know how many teenage boys you're removing their sexual awakening? Like, this is the quintessential, you gotta wake up and watch this movie at 3 a.m. and hide it from your parents on HBO. Like, this is that movie. And you are depriving so many little Gen Z little babies from watching that in 10 years, okay? That is special to a lot of people.
Yeah, but if you're talking about, if you're talking about Spankfest, there are plenty of movies that have come out in the last since 2004 that kids can have their spiritual awakening. I mean, you've got movies like 50 Shades of Grey where they actually have sex and show porn. But you're talking about a movie that, from my home state of Arizona, I personally wish you Californians would fall into the ocean so we can have beachfront property.
Whoa, I'm trying to be nice here.
You say,
I'm thinking about other people.
You say The Rock,
James, you should go and die.
You said The Rock can't act. The whole movie is based on The Rock's physicality.
This was a bad performance through and through. This is skyscraper levels of bad.
How much lines does he really have? He doesn't really say much in the whole movie.
Exactly.
It is him brooding about getting to his family. This is the perfect disaster film. And you want to talk, the question says bad movie. San Andreas has a 6.1 on IMDb. It is a 50% on the tomato meter, and 92% of people on Google like it. Catwoman, on the other hand, has a 3.1.
Idiots who use Google or the quantification of if a movie was good. Because the question is, bad movie we should lock away, not what is the worst.
No, the question is, what is the worst movie to be locked into it? San Andreas has a positive. If you look at Catwoman, it has a 9% on the tomato meter. Ebert gave it a 1 out of 4, and 73%.
I think the issue here is you're
people
trying to give
like
me
it.
facts and say that numbers back up your statement. I am arguing a emotional response. This is legitimately scary and a possibility.
But the
And this
question
doesn't
is,
prepare anybody for the reality of it. This just tells people, hey, you're gonna die. And we don't want to hear that. What you're arguing is about Catwoman is so bad we should never see it again. This doesn't have... Okay, so the character of Catwoman has evolved since then. And I'll admit, Patience Phillips is a garbage character and a garbage movie with a garbage villain. I'll wrap my point really quick. But the character is still seen in movies, in television, and in comics.
But you just proved my point. Why should we lock it up? Because Patience Phillips is a terrible character. It was presented as a Catwoman movie. Guess what? Catwoman takes place in the Batman universe. There is no Batman. If you want to talk about how bad it is, it had $100 million budget, made $82.1 million at the box office.
You're still giving me numbers, and that doesn't back up your point.
And you're saying we should lock it up because the people in California are a bunch of chicken shits, and something that they have talked about for years, if the San Andreas faults do create an earthquake, that California is going to fall off into the ocean.
No, exactly. That is my point.
But hold on. Then let's add The Day After Tomorrow to that same list as yours, because with climate change and global warming, that's going to happen.
Okay,
it is a movie.
Climate change is preventable, and we're going to get into politics now because of this. But what you're arguing is a movie is so bad no one should ever see it again. I think that is inherently false. You can avoid watching a movie. And yeah, so you don't like Catwoman, then don't watch it. I saw it at 3 a.m. because
1 minute,
you're a teenager. Thank you, Ryan.
Said you don't, but you said you don't like San Andreas because it freaks you out. There's the same point. You don't like it, don't watch it. The Rock is.
I've already seen it. I can't shake the terror. What you're saying is Catwoman is so bad no one should ever see it again. And sure, that's true, but that doesn't mean it should be banished forever. It still has good things like ruining Halle Berry's career, and frankly, she hasn't done much since Catwoman, and that's for a good thing.
John Wick 3.
The biggest movie she's had is The Call and Kingsman 2. Like, Catwoman is a nothing movie that sure sucks, but shouldn't be gotten rid of.
So you're telling me because certain people in California are scared of this movie, they should get rid of it? Well, yes. Okay. How about then don't watch it, just like you said. The Rock is charming. It is a coming-of-age movie for his daughter because she has to go from being a scared little girl to protecting herself and the two people with her. And it is The Rock and his wife coming together to save their child.
Time. Oh my God, there is just, guys, this is a debate, not a let's yell over each other match. We're going to go to closing. Matt, you have 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds on the board. Tell us why Catwoman is the bad movie you would want to lock away in Area 51.
The reason Catwoman needs to be locked away is because, one, it was presented as a Catwoman movie. The only iconic thing about that was how crappy her costume was. One, it's Patience Phillips, not Selena Kyle. Two, it takes place in the Batman universe. There is no Batman in it. She is not a thief. So that right there tells you why it shouldn't be. San Andreas, on the other hand, is a great disaster film. It is a coming of age film for his daughter, who was sent away with her mother's new boyfriend and is dumped. Her and 2 kids have to survive probably what would be the biggest tragedy in the world, disaster-wise. The Rock is charming. He is not in that movie to be
10 seconds.
A leading actor. He is in there to be brooding, to be strong, to be basically the Superman in the movie. So Catwoman sucks and San Andreas stays.
Time. Whew. All right, going over to James. James, close us out. 60 seconds on the clock. Why is San Andreas the bad movie you would lock away in Area 51 over Catwoman?
what you provide is a lot of statistics and numbers, which, again, I do not care about. Because what you're saying is that Catwoman is bad because you were let down by it. And sure, that's okay. But that doesn't mean it should be taken away forever. The Catwoman character has evolved since then. She's been in The Dark Knight Rises as Selina Kyle, and she's great there. What I'm arguing is that San Andreas is so scary that once you see it once, it shocks your mind and sends you into a terroring spiral that you can never get out of. And it's this reality that nothing we can do besides move out of the state can prevent our eventual gruesome death. And so what you're saying is that Catwoman, because it ruined your little fanboy heart, something should be taken away because it wasn't the accurate depiction of the character that you like. What I'm saying is that San Andreas should never be seen by an individual again because it is just a haunting terror that we can never escape. And yes, The Rock can't act, Alexandra Daddario can't act other than True Detective Season 1. Nothing in that movie is worth a damn. It's bad, and you should feel bad when you watch it because that's what it does to you.
Time. Yeah, so there was a lot in this debate considering the mention of Spankfest. This is automatically not getting monetized. Sorry, Matt and Subrath. I can't avoid the fact that we talked about 13-year-old boys, coming to manhood, if you will, and the decimation of an entire state. Yeah, I'm not going to touch this first. We're going to go over to Ryan. Ryan, tell us where you see the viewpoint. You basically were told to just die so Arizona could have beachfront property. How are you feeling during this debate?
Well, first off, Matt, thanks for going all Lex Luthor on us for a second. I really appreciated that. Yeah. And, go fuck yourself and live in Otisburg for all I care. Yeah, this ain't getting monetized anyway. But still, Matt is getting the point. Mainly because, James, as much as I like your argument about how this is an actual terror to us, you put all of your chips in that basket. You didn't give more to it. You weren't giving us some more instance, like something of the film to make me want to go, why I don't want to see this. I saw the film. I did give a couple of examples why I don't want to see this movie again, but you weren't giving those examples. You just kept talking about the theoretical and hypothetical and and the realistic fate that San Andreas presents us. And it is a disaster movie. Matt, on the other hand, despite the number and statistics he gave with Catwoman, he kept hammering down that Catwoman was a movie set in the Batman universe, which it does reference Batman, but it doesn't. It's just not a good movie. And despite the fact that fanboys might hate it, believe me, fanboys can start petitions over the tiniest and most butthurt details. I mean, come on, Snyder Cut. Avengers Endgame, for fuck's sakes, the Infinity War, everything. But I'm gonna stop here. Matt gets the point. Lex Luthor
right.
having fuck.
All right. Matt has officially made enemies with the entire state of California in this one question by saying, fuck that, grow, be men, I guess, is his statement. Stop being pansies and don't watch the movie, I guess. No, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. James, I like what you did, but the question isn't what terrifying movie to Californians should be locked away, which is what you were arguing for. I commend you on your ability to argue, but Matt hits you on too many strong points about why the movie's actually good enough to stay out of that Area 51 quarantine and not be protected from the rest of the world. I'm going to give Matt my point, even though he used Spankfest in his argument, and I don't think that should be allowed because we have children that might be watching this. All right, we're back, and we're going into your final question. This has been one interesting form of movie Battlegrounds After Dark. So we're going to go to the third and not final question because we're going to the speed round, but to see who has the advantage. Best action film of the 1970s. And we're going to James first. James, 90 seconds on the clock. What is the best action film of the 1970s?
I will give you not only the best action movie, but the most influential, the highest grossing, the most special, and the favorite among literally everybody. It is 1997's Star Wars. It's not A New Hope. Shut up. It is the movie that has impacted literally every generation before and since it came out. And on top of that, it is unforgettable. Most people, most humans on this earth know every second of the film in order with the soundtrack, with the actual line delivery. It is a perfect movie, and its action is uncomparable to anything else that released around the time. Quite literally, not only is it the best action film of the 70s, it's one of the best action movies of all time, and nothing released in that decade can challenge it. Concede.
All right, so we have Star Wars, not 1997, like a few of you heard, 1977.
I'm stupid, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Misa, sorry.
Judge.
So we're gonna go over to Matt. Matt, 90 seconds. What is your best action film of the 1970s? Not to be confused with the 1990s.
Well, if we're going 1990s, I must have the wrong question. My movie came out in 1997, and not only did it change cinema, it changed sports movies. It showed you that the hero, the person that's leading the story, can lose and still be known as probably by far one of the greatest movies of all time, because the sequels continue to improve upon what this was. And I'm talking about, of course, 1997's Rocky. Rocky is a story about an immigrant that came into this country who basically couldn't read. His only real talent was hitting people. So he was a gangster. He was a brawler in a small boxing club. And then he got the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. And not only to this day, if you play the theme song to that, everybody knows what it is. They have a statue in Philadelphia that is used in this movie because of what it did. If you go to Philadelphia, you see people running up the stairs of the museum and standing at top of it, raising their hands in glory. So Rocky from 1997 is the action movie of the 70s.
Time.
We're going to the 5-minute debate. James, Ryan, Star Wars, Rocky. What is the best action film of the 1970s?
So what you're saying is that it's influential. Sure, that's cute. Star Wars is one of the most influential films of all time. It revolutionized special effects, marketing, toys, franchising. It just has done literally everything, and it saved the sci-fi genre. Nothing like it came out before then that was respected. It stopped around the 50s and then just got boring. Star Wars revolutionized cinema. Rocky revolutionized sports movies, and frankly, most of the films of that franchise are better than it. Creed is better. Creed 2 is better. Rocky 4 is better. Rocky 2 is better. Rocky is a product of the time that has aged poorly. The only thing that it did was make a statue and sort of invent the Steadicam, but even then, it's not really anything.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that that Rocky isn't influential. You're talking about sci-fi movies too. Look at Avengers Endgame. They took a page directly out of Rocky. The villain won. At the end of Rocky, Apollo Creed wins the fight. Avengers Endgame, Thanos snaps. So you're telling me that it wasn't influential. And you're talking about special effects. Rocky influentialized prosthetics. What is one of the biggest scenes that is even still looked upon today is that scene when Rocky's eye is so swollen and bloody that they have to cut it open. It was so influential.
In 1905.
They used it again in
one of the
Creed.
most influential shots of silent cinema is someone getting their eye cut open. That's nothing special. You're saying prosthetics are revolutionized. You're discounting the monster movies in the 1920s, 30s, 40s. Rocky is a product of the time that you are just focusing on because, hey, the villain won, which again has happened before. Again, monster movies. What you're talking about is nothing that Rocky made special. It's the thing that Rocky made popular. Yes, Rocky was very big. It's one of the highest grossing films of all time. But that does not make it the best action film. You know what has action in it? Star Wars. They fight in the stars and start a war. That's action. What you're saying is,
okay, so you're telling me that there's no action. You're talking about action. The beginning scene of the movie, Rocky is pummeling Spider Rico to the point he doesn't get up. As a matter of fact, Rocky feels so bad about that. In Rocky Balboa, he has Spider Rico cooking in his kitchen because he feels so bad for the ass whooping he gives him.
What you're describing about is just a plot. Nothing about the film requires action. The Godfather has as many action sequences as Rocky because it's a boxing movie. Something it's an action movie. And focusing on the action.
How many actual scenes of action? I'm talking about. You want to talk about fighting? Actual fighting does Star Wars have? Not as many as Rocky. The last hour of Rocky is fighting. It is him and Apollo Creed trading blows, bone breaking. That film has it actually had the first time the sound of bone breaking. When Rocky is in that freezer,
snap celery. Nothing about that is special.
Sylvester Stallone broke his hand.
It's a snap celery. Good for them.
Okay. You want to talk about action? You want to talk about Stormtrooper? You want to talk about the fighting in space? Stormtroopers couldn't hit me if I was standing in front of them, and I am 6'8", 325 pounds. A Stormtrooper couldn't hit me in this.
1 minute, guys.
2 feet apart. So you talk about the action. Look at the fact that when Rocky is training, you feel it. You feel the weight of the world.
That's my argument, is that you don't.
Shoulders.
You may have, but realizing since then the actual direction of the action is terrible. None of the hits look like they land. Everything is very clear.
Star Wars land.
Star Wars, you were bought into
None
it.
of the hits in Star Wars. The only
all special effects. The fact that you buy that it is this epic battle of technology that we can't comprehend, of these weird magical powers that we can't comprehend, and they make it work. That's what makes it special. You're saying that you can believe boxers. Good for you. A bunch of people box. You're just fighting in the streets. Star Wars is special because it says something that the genre did not see at the time and made you believe that it was real. Bitch.
Side.
Your mama.
and we're gonna scratch your mama from the argument. It was said after time.
That's bullshit.
We're gonna go to James. James, close this out. Why is Star Wars the best action film of the 1970s, or is like you like to say, 1997?
All right. Let's break down the question first of all. It's the best action film of all time. It's the best film of the 70s, and it very well could be one of the greatest films of all time. So my argument is everything about it works. The directing, the acting, and how revolutionary it was in the technical department and even the marketing. Star Wars is unmatched in its paralleled dominance of everything. Rocky is a product of the time that has not aged well. Many of the other films of the franchise are better than Rocky. The only thing that makes it special is the ending, which again has been done a lot since. Star Wars is amazing. It makes you believe that a man can choke you from 20 feet across the room and that swords can somehow have lightning in them or whatever it is. One of the most iconic quotes of any film poster is in 1978 Superman, "You will believe a man can fly." And I tell you that 1977 Star Wars has the same things. You will believe that a man can go to space, shoot womp rats, ignite a sword, discover the Force, and compel the hearts of generations.
Yeah, Tam. We're gonna go over to Matt. Matt, 60 seconds on the clock. Tell us why Rocky is the best action film of the 1970s.
Okay, so he wants to talk about other movies that they've taken from. Well, you could take a fact and think that basically Star Wars, as some Trekkies would say, is just carbon copy of Star Trek. Now, he wants to talk about how it was technically better. Rocky in 1977 was nominated for the Oscar in film editing, screenplay, sound editing, and original song. Let alone the fact that two of the main actors were nominated for supporting actors. That would be Burgess Meredith, Burt Young. Leading actress in it was also done. It was a winner for Best Picture Director. So you're telling me that a movie that wasn't even nominated for major pictures changed the game? Look at Rocky. It is still today being copied. You can look at it from Real Steel to any other boxing movie.
Time.
Shit, I lost my train of thought halfway through it.
Can I challenge
All
you
right,
on that?
all right.
Can I call a fact check?
On what?
I was trying to do the fact check. Because I was interested in seeing that myself. But I can't do
Go ahead, fact check it. As a matter of fact, it won Best Picture.
No.
Oh no, please fact check it.
Arguments over. Everybody mute their mics, please. We're gonna go down to me. I'm gonna go ahead and go over everything. So what I have here is Rocky versus Star Wars, and the question itself: best action film of the 1970s. I wanted to hear a little bit more about why Rocky was the best action film. I heard a lot about the singular fight. I heard a lot about how inspiring it was, but not why it was the best action. I heard from James overall why this was an action movie piece after piece after piece. So James is getting my point. I also am ashamed of both of you for not going with 1978 Superman. For that, you both get deducted all your points, and I win. We're gonna go over to Malcolm. Malcolm, where are you looking? Are you as ashamed of them as I am for not saying 1978 Superman?
Yeah, I am ashamed of it. But before I get to my thoughts, I did fact check. Matt says that Star Wars wasn't nominated at the Oscars. He is incorrect. Star Wars was nominated for a lot and won 6 Oscars. So it was nominated for major awards. So, but yeah, my point's going to go to James on this. He really covered all the action set pieces of Star Wars easily, and like he even countered Matt's thing by saying that Rocky isn't an action movie, and I did fact check that as well. On IMDb, Rocky is classified as drama and sport, so according to IMDb, it's not technically an action movie, but yeah, so my point's going to go to James. I mean, but it was a great fight on both sides. So
it was definitely a great fight. The judges accepted it beforehand, so we can't take semantics at that point. James is getting the point. All right, so we're going to the speed round. James has got 2, Matt's got 1. You know how the speed round works, but I'm going to break it down for you right now. We're going to read a question, read it twice, and then our competitors are going to say their answer. The first one that gives their answer goes first. You have a 30-second opener, 15-second rebuttal, or however you want to use it. It can be 30-second rebuttal, 15-second rebuttal. Just, prove your point of why yours is the better choice. So the question is, best non-animated movie animal. Again, the question is, best non-animated movie animal.
Airbud.
All right, and James, who do you got for best non-animated movie animal?
Jaws.
Jaws. All right, this is going to be a good one. All right, guys. Matt, 30 seconds on the board. Airbud, why is this the best non-animated movie animal? And when you start talking.
Airbud is the best non-animated animal because he takes the spirit of this kid who really isn't that good at basketball and helps him become basketball. He's kind of a loner, and Airbud teaches him how to make friends, and he helps them win the championship, let alone getting away from bad guys.
10.
I'm done.
All right, and he concedes the rest of his time. James, Jaws, why is it the best non-animated movie character out there? 30 seconds on the board when you start talking.
Something we forget to really quantify here about why something is terrifying is just how simple it is. And Jaws is just that, a simple character. It is an animal, which means it only has one intended purpose: to kill. And yes, that's not real to actual sharks. But as a movie character, Jaws is compelling because you know that he only has one goal, and nothing will stop, or her, apparently in Jaws 3, nothing will stop her from completing her goal. She is terrifying, she is bloodthirsty, and the technology behind her is amazing, which means not a real animal, but an amazing animatronic.
Time. All right, we got Jaws. We got Airbud. Matt, 15 seconds. Tell us why Airbud is better than Jaws in the question of best non-animated movie animals. 15 seconds when you start talking.
Airbud's a real dog. You said that in your opening that Jaws is an animatronic. The question is real life animal. Airbud is real. He is a dog. You can pet him. Jaws is something that a machine they built to replicate a real animal.
Time. All right. James, 15 seconds. 50. Hey, I said time. 15 seconds on the board. Why is Jaws better than Airbud in the best non-animated movie animal category? 15 seconds on the board when you start talking.
The question is if the animal is a movie, or is it the question is if it's an animal in the movie, and it is. But what you're saying, yes, we are familiar with dogs. We see a bunch of dogs. Seeing another dog who can play basketball, sure, whatever. That's cool. What I'm saying is this is a shark that we are not used to seeing. We don't even know its mindset, but we know its mindset in the movie, and it just kills.
Time. All right. Thank God I don't got to do this first, and I'm going to Malcolm. Malcolm. Yeah, the question is best non-animated movie animal. Tell us who's getting your point and why.
Yeah, this was tough as both of them were great in their opening rounds. I think it's the rebuttals which kind of and I know speed rounds is tough to get your points out very quickly, but I'm going to give the slight edge to James on this. But yeah.
All right, Ryan, going over to you. Who you got? Make some sense of this for me, man. Don't make me choose. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead, make the choice, man. Who you got?
Free, really? Seriously, nobody picked that? Three separate movies of this whale. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, honestly, the rebuttals really hurt both of you guys there. Yeah, it really is hard to argue that, but there still would have been room for you guys to really get some points out there. Matt, that was a good shot at him for saying the shark's not real, though. But from the question non-animated, I mainly was in the mindset of animated movies, so I was able to let the Jaws thing slide. Although, Matt, you did do a good job with Airbud talking about the story on how Airbud is a key figure focus on our boy character, to make him become a person. James, I appreciate how you talk about the shark is terrifying, how its presence is there throughout the movie. I don't know. Matt really did give more. You really want me to make you choose? Fine, you're choosing. Doug, I'm going with Matt. No, seriously. Matt would have gotten the point anyway because he relegated his character to being a key figure in the story of the movie Air Bud. And
so we're we're having our elections this year, and Ryan Payne has officially became heel of the year for all that stalling. So the problem that I have here, I'm going to be honest with you, is best non-animated creature. While yes, it's acceptable, it's still an animatronic. So I think that hits you way too hard. Animated is also CGI. Anything that's not real. And unfortunately, Jaws is not real. It's a creature that's not real. So I will give Matt the argument. Although, James, I do appreciate your arguing because you sure as hell fought hard. You fought hard.
Should I have said Cal the super dog to make you happy, Doug?
Yes, that would have made me extra happy. It is tied. It is tied. We're going to the final speed round question. We're going to see what this Action Army Civil War is really going to break down to. Will it be Ben Bateman? Will it be Guy? Wait, I think they're both Team Guy, so I don't know. The Civil War of Team Guy, I guess.
They're Team Guy? Oh, I shouldn't give him no points.
No points. No points. We're going to the final speed round question. Again, guys, I'm going to read it twice. I'm going to listen for your answers. Let me write this down real quick. And this final speed round breaks down 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and 10 seconds. It's going to go fast, guys. So listen to the question and then say your answer. What Avenger or Guardian would you want to spend the day with? Again, what Avenger or Guardian would you want to spend the day with?
Doctor Strange.
Star-Lord.
All right. I heard Doctor Strange first. Can I get my judges to agree? Yeah? Yep. All right. Doctor Strange versus Star-Lord. This is going to be a match of who's going to give me the better time. A doctor who's going to send me on an acid trip or a ride in a spaceship.
You can't steal my
arguments. Wild ride.
Fucker just took mine.
Sort of like a Disney ride. Listen, fuck you both. I'm the host. I can say what I want. And we're going down to James first. James, 30 seconds on the board. Doctor Strange over Star-Lord. Why?
The best day is one that never ends. A day that will never end is with Doctor Strange, because he can take you through different realities. If you want something, boom, there's a reality for it. If you want to go to the land of milk and honey, boom, there's reality for it. Because what you're asking for is a land where nothing is impossible. You have the wildest desires, and Doctor Strange can make that happen. If you want the best day possible, you go with somebody who can always give you what you want.
Conceding. All right. He's conceding his time. Matt, we got Star-Lord on the board. Why is he the Avenger that you want to spend your day with over Doctor Strange? Why is this happening?
You want to go to Space Puppy? Let's go. Star-Lord will be like, bitch, get in my ship. Let's go. Let's crank the tunes. Let's go find babes. Let's go check shit out. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, would be like, this is going to break time in reality. He may go, let's go here. Wong's going to step in and go, no, bitch. You can't do that. Just like he did in the movie. He's like, you're going to break this time continuum. Star-Lord would be like, fuck it. Let's go party.
5.
And pick up chicks. And your mama.
All right. That has been the signature ending line of Matt for the last 4 rounds. We're going to go over to James again. 20 seconds on the board. Doctor Strange over Star-Lord. Tell us why.
Doctor Strange is Sorcerer Supreme. He does what he wants. If you're gonna want to go watch Queen live and get music for real in person, you can do that. Doctor Strange's possibilities are innumerable. And if you make a mistake, boom, he can go back in time with the time stone. There's literally nothing that can go wrong with him. If the time loop is broken, whatever, he can fix it. And he has before. Star-Lord ruined Thanos' plan, and he's an asshole.
Time. All right. Going over to Matt. Star-Lord's an asshole is the last thing I heard. Tell us why Star-Lord's not an asshole. Matt, 20 seconds on the board.
Star-Lord would be like, dude, let's go. Hey, you want to go check out some babes? You want to go have a drink? You want to go in space? Let's go. Doctor Strange would have Wong up his ass going, you're going to fuck this up. You're going to screw this up. You can't do this. You're going to break the space-time continuum. We've already done that. Let's not do that again. Star-Lord, on the other hand, be like, fuck it, let's go!
Time. All right. Last 10 seconds of this match. James, hit it with a haymaker. Give us Doctor Strange. Tell us why he's better. And 10 seconds.
You see in Guardians 1, Star-Lord literally had sex with a girl. She was over at his ship, and he forgot about her. Like, he'll forget about you. And you know what? Wong can't tell Strange what to do. He is unstoppable. He does what he wants. Star-Lord is a little bitch.
Time!
Oh, my God. Hitting with the haymakers. We're coming back at him. We're going to Matt. Matt, is Star-Lord a bitch? That's what we're wondering. Tell us your answer with this final 10 seconds.
If Star-Lord forgets about me, that's okay, because that means I can hang out with the rest of the Guardians and go with them. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, is limited. The time stone's gone. We don't know exactly where it's at. So fuck your mom.
Time. All right, we are getting extra violent with people's.
Can I challenge semantics? Can I challenge?
You're 0.5 after your mom. Okay.
You're bleeped after your mom.
Your mom.
All right, we're going. I'm going to Ryan first. Ryan, make some goddamn sense of why both these characters are bitches or not bitches. I guess because that's how we're classifying superheroes now.
I'm not classifying either of bitches. Honestly, I came with two different sides. I came across a guy who's going to take me on an adventurous field trip compared to a dude bro college frat boy who would forget me after getting laid. If you want to put those two against me, I'm going with Doctor Strange because he can, not just without a time stone, he has the ability to tap into multiple dimensions. Yes, sure, Doctor Strange might have Wong on his side, but I want to have someone to make sure he's reined in instead of Star-Lord, who for some reason, if he's able to do what he wants on his ship, despite the Guardians being with him and he forgets me behind, guess what? I got 4 people who don't give a crap about me and 1 guy who's actually human. So I'm going with Doctor Strange.
All right. I've seen into Ryan's psyche now. He has abandonment issues. We're going over some. I'm not making this decision. I'm going over to Malcolm. Malcolm, are you gonna make me decide, or are we going with Doctor Strange? Who's winning this one?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of fact check. Technically, the time zone's not gone because it's just replaced back into the timeline from where it was taken, so he will still end up having it. But yeah, I'm going with James. Like a lot of what I heard from Matt on about Star-Lord is you can go to space and he can help you meet chicks. James painted a really good picture of how Doctor Strange, you can go to different timelines, you can go to different multiverses to explore. He can take you on a really great adventure. So James gets my point.
And your winner with a Marvel question of who he wants to hang out with, his dream date is Doctor Strange. James, you won this match. How are you feeling, buddy?
Unlimited power. You know, it feels nice. The only man who has beaten me is the one who is in the Schmodown currently. So it seems like I only lose to the best of the best, which didn't happen today. And you know what? I have so much more against Star-Lord. His ship is a Jackson Pollock painting. None of the other Revengers are there, or whatever you want to call them now. Star-Lord sucks, and he spends the entire time crying about Gamora. I have so much against him.
All right. I'm shutting you down. All right. You fucking heel of the year. Go ahead. Enjoy yourself. All right. We're going over to Matt. Matt, you're an unfortunate loser of the match. You still fought hard. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm kind of bummed out because Doctor Strange is my favorite Marvel character, and I had to jump on something, and Star-Lord was the first name that came out of my mouth. But to be honest, you know what? It was a great fight. For my first one, you know what? Losing to somebody who's only lost to somebody in the Schmodown has to say something to me, and I took him to the final speed round question. I mean, all bullshit aside, this was fun. Hope I get to do it again soon.
All right, and we're gonna go over to Malcolm first. Malcolm, how are you feeling? And where can the people find you?
I'm feeling great. It was a great match. And definitely, Matt shouldn't feel bummed out because he did play a good game. So, and you can find me hosting Rankum every Sunday night. You can find me on Full Metal hosting Formula Random. And you can find me all over the place competing everywhere.
Sounds good, sir. As always, I enjoy you on the board with me. I enjoy watching you compete. We're gonna go over to Ryan. Ryan, how do you feel about tonight's match? Are you still angry about being told that California should just die for beachfront property?
I've heard worse from New Yorkers. But I think this was a very good match. These two, they brought their own here. And despite it being a shouting match, I've had so many matches on Battleground, in Game Zone, in the Marvel bracket, where it's been nothing but shout matches. So as long as these guys were able to get their points across, I'm fine with that. Although I will go to bat on Star-Lord, mainly because no one talks about his growth as a person. But that's another conversation for another time.
All right, and I'll bat back right at you because the growth that he gained as a person, he lost in Infinity War when he beat Thanos instead of letting them win.
That was a rational reaction. Rational reaction. Tony Stark has made worse reactions.
Take it to Nerd Fights. Anyway, I am Doug Castle, and you can find me commissioning Nerd Fights in Game Zone. Joining over on Take 3 occasionally, a lot actually, and I'm excited to be over there as well. Just check us all out. Enjoy the matches that are coming. Make sure you're checking out the Nerd Fight tournament. Make sure you're checking out the Game Zone tournament. All the other brackets that we got going on right now. From James, from Matt, from Malcolm, from Ryan, from myself. Next time, let's battle it out some more, guys.